Yeah, so I graduated from Durham University about 18 months ago now and did the sports degree there. And ever since then and before, I've only really worked in sports, and it's an absolute passion of mine. I've been lucky enough to have a family that are pretty sports mad, so I've travelled to different places watching it. And since I got a taste of it, it really is the only direction I wanted to go, to be honest. I think the path sort of chose me in a way from the job description. One of that opportunity to go all around the world watching different sports and entertainment events was fantastic. But I've had tastes in it as well, which I've really enjoyed. I've been in Sydney for the last 9 months working on a sports account in a marketing agency. And I just didn't really realise how big and involved sports marketing is. I can't go to an event now and I don't think how much a certain company paid for the rights to something or sponsorship and brand collateral. So it's just to learn a bit more. I always thought I'd go in broadcasting, and that's the way I've sort of have trained so far and learnt. But it's nice to sort of have a few more strings to your bow, and sports marketing is definitely something that I'm interested in and want to find out more about. It wasn't quite the usual job application, I don't think, but luckily I did something quite similar last year, so I wasn't alien to it and had an idea what they were looking for. It was a 6-week process in all, and various different stages. So initially it was a 90-second video application where I just wanted to give off my past experience of what I've done and try to get through that stage. Followed up with an essay, and I love writing about sports, so I was very pleased to see that and did a bit of a more unique piece in that regard. And then it went on to a Skype interview with Sport Business and GMR, and that was mainly focused around the Rugby World Cup because that was going on at the time, and looking at the marketing in that event. Followed by a voting stage, so I made the final top 10 for that, and that was basically, I think, to drum up quite a lot of social media interest. So I made a few more tongue-in-cheek videos and sent them around social media, and they basically went down very well. So we've got 25,000 views or so on those two, and lots of shares on Facebook, and got some votes in, which was lovely to see my friends sort of backed me in that regard, which was nice. And then finally, the last three was making a film, 5-minute film, which was testing the sort of filmmaking side of it and interviewing. And that was at Richmond Fan Zone on World Cup final day. And it's looking at branding and their awareness, because it's pretty hard to get fans to talk about branding when they really just want to be drinking Heineken as opposed to talking about it. But it was a really good day before the final, and then I presented it to a panel of experts, and yeah, that was it really. But yeah, it took a while, a lot of nervous, a few sleepless nights waiting to hear if you made the next stage. Yes, the first stage was probably a bit conservative. I just wanted to give off my experience because I have worked only in sport really in various areas. So I just wanted to get through the first stage, and then I took different approaches. So from the essay point of view, it was about sponsorship, and I've been living in Australia for the last year, and there was a big story around Kentucky Fried Chicken and rugby league out there, which I know no one else would have done because there's more Emirates than Arsenal. So I wrote that, which may or may not have paid off. And then the big change would have been in the top 10 in the voting process, where I must admit, I looked at the other candidates and looked at their Twitter to see what they were doing. So there was a bit of competition, friendly rivalry going on, and decided to really stand out or try to make some videos. I wasn't just going to sit down and ask famous people to vote for me because realistically it's not going to happen. So I made these videos explaining what the job was about and why I'd really want it. And then with the final, as I said, it was very tough to get fans to talk about brand awareness at Fan Zone when they just want to watch a rugby game. So I basically created various different games and activities instead to make it a bit more enticing, and luckily it paid off in the final. I remember it very well. Yeah, it was. I had the interview on the Friday, and and I was told the decision would be made early next week. So, all day Monday, I just sat there waiting for my phone. Every email, text, phone call just was ignored. Basically, a family member or friend saying, "Have you heard?" And at 5:02, I got a call from a mobile I didn't know, and it happens to be Mark from GMR Marketing. And luckily, he told me very early on that I had got it, because the next few minutes we spoke, I couldn't tell you what we spoke about at all. I was just in a bit of shock. My mum said, have some deep breaths, and what will be. And luckily, yeah, the right answer came, but I wasn't too sure, yeah. Yeah, it's been intense but exciting. I first week was with sport business, and I learned a lot about the business side of it, which I probably didn't know, the likes of finances and the corporate world as well, which I haven't had anything really to do with, because a lot of this year will be in hospitality suites, and learning about networking, the ins and outs. I had a great few days at the ATP at the O2, which I've never done before, was absolutely fantastic. And at GMR in the last 2 weeks has been really about the company themselves and the brands they work with, and what I'm going to try bring over the next 12 months, what sort of content they want, and how it can work together, because hopefully this leads to bigger and better things in the sports industry. Yeah, a few people ask me that, and it's really, when you see the list, it's pretty hard to say. From a sports marketing point of view, it's got to be the Super Bowl. I'm a massive lover of all sport, really, and I watch NFL most weekends. But how Americans do advertising and marketing is a whole nother league. I mean, $4 million for 30 seconds, whatever it is for the advert, is something special, and they buy into it. So from that sports marketing side, it's got to be Super Bowl. And from entertainment, there's a possibility the Oscars will be involved. So how I'm going to fit into the glamour of the red carpet will be interesting, but if I do, then again, it's got to be something. I've got nothing to lose from where I stand, so I think just wear something outrageous and do some fun content from around there, speaking to whoever. So hopefully the Oscars, Golden Globes, or something along those lines will be, very exciting. Just you can't be scared. The amazing opportunity isn't just going to fall on your lap and be awarded it. So you've got to go out there and send emails, make phone calls, pretty much be a bit of a pest in a way, so they acknowledge you're there. And once you get that slight foot in the door, stand out. You've got to do something different, because it's quite a small industry and unbelievably competitive. So you've got to try do something that will catch their eye, because everyone has the same sort of the boring CV. So maybe a video CV, for example. I love social media, is how I do most of my work, and it's a great tool for sort of advertising yourself. So that would be my main advice for anyone trying to get in, because it's so competitive and really quite tough. You have to stand out and don't be shy to maybe make a bit of a fool of yourself, or make yourself appear in their eye, or just so they can't ignore you, really.